Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out Polygon's price chart and see what is going on. But the main focus of today's video is actually going to be on the long-term side of stuff, and we are going to do a full Elliott wave analysis, and I'm going to try to explain at least why in my view Polygon actually looks extremely bullish, and that's actually why around these areas every single time that we are getting a bit of a move on the downside, I am a buyer in Polygon. So are you ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And before that, I actually just remembered this. One of you guys in the comment section of the previous video said that the reason for why we are having such big volumes in Polygon is because a lot of people are working inside of the network, and those numbers are only transactions within the Polygon network itself. In other words, outside of networks and, for example, between exchanges, we don't really have a lot of volume. And I would like to actually disagree with you a little bit. So let's go on CoinMarketCap and see where we are. Okay, we are, as you can see, at rank 49 with a market cap of about $1.6 billion. And pay attention, in the last 24 hours, the total volume between all exchanges was about, let's say, $200 million. Now, how about the other projects near Polygon? As you can see, in Filecoin, we had about 900 million in terms of volume, which is quite insane. In Algorand, only 89 million. In Pax Gold, actually, you know what, let's just ignore Pax Gold. This is related to gold itself, it's not necessarily an altcoin. How about Cosmos? We had about 117 million. How about, as you can see, WLD 162 million, Ondo 91 million, despite the fact that its market cap is a little bit higher than Polygon. Pi Network about 25 million, Athena ENA about 400 million, definitely not that bad. How about APT Aptos about $200 million, Ethereum Classic about 144, OKB about $66 million. So in terms of volume, I don't really believe that we are having like a lack of volume in Polygon. You don't believe in, well, okay, let's just do this real quick. You see, right now we are ranked based on market cap. What's going to happen if I just sort everything based on volume? Where are we in Polygon? Remember, in terms of market cap, we were at rank 49. Now, in terms of volume, in Polygon, we are at rank 44. Essentially, in terms of volume, we are actually in the right place, and I don't really believe that we are having a whole lot to be worried about. So again, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. In my view, in Polygon, we do have decent volume. And if you are arguing, for example, when we were somewhere around 30-40 cents, we had more volume, you know what? You are right. But that actually goes to show you that right now, not a lot of people necessarily paying attention to Polygon, and those are the times to actually get in the market. For example, recently we saw a massive pump in Dash and Zcash. Do you honestly believe when in Dash we were somewhere around $24, we had the same volume that we are having right now? Where is Dash actually at the moment? I think, yep, we are at rank 31 in terms of volume with $400 million in the last 24 hours. I promise you, when the price of Dash was somewhere around 25 bucks, we didn't really have this massive volume. So again, as my conclusion, in Polygon, if you care about the volume, I don't really believe that we are having a whole lot to be worried about. Now, let's just do a long-term Elliott wave analysis in here and see what is going on. And notice we are on Polygon's chart POL. And since in POL we don't really have a lot of data, I think we should actually check out Matic's chart from TradingView. And well, the problem with that chart, I think, is that in the short term, we don't really have the recent data actually. And yes, as you can see, the last data point was from the 19.8 cents area, but we do have the previous data. Let's put the chart on logarithmic. There we go. So this is my primary scenario in Polygon. I think we are having, in this initial move on the upside, 5 wave up into a larger degree wave 1, excuse me, something like this, followed by a WXY in form of most likely a double zigzag into wave 2, and this in my view is a 1 2 3 4 5 wave to about here into a wave 3, and the current move down in Polygon I think is just a correction structure into our wave 4, and after it's over, what are we going to have? I'm really hoping that by the end of this cycle we are going to have another magnificent move on the upside into our wave 5. Now, in terms of what the shape of our move down in Polygon from the highs in here back in 2021, about $3 looking like, I think back then we talked about the possibility of having maybe an ABC in form of a zigzag with an ending diagonal in form of a wedge structure, right? Let's just put the chart on regular scale and zoom in. Yes, I think we talked about the possibility of having a bit of a wedge. And let's just measure the length of our wave 3 from this point to about here and compare it to this wave and see where is the low. It is, yep, absolutely around 0. So here's the situation. Let's just put this thing on logarithmic and go around here. In an ending diagonal in form of a wedge structure, we are going to have a wave 1 correction for wave 2, another move down into wave 3, which has to be smaller than wave 1, correction for 4, it's going to be smaller than wave 2, and also unlike an impulsive structure, in here we must actually have overlapping of the waves between our wave 2 and 4, and this is our final move on the downside into wave 5, and it must be the smallest wave. And for our sub waves, this is like the really key point. We are going to have, basically ABCs for every single wave. ABC for wave 2, ABC down for our wave 3, ABC for 4, and this is our final zigzag on the downside into our wave 5. And by the way, let's just go around here. In an ABC zigzag for the sub waves, we're gonna have 5 down into a correction for wave B. Let's say in this instance, maybe a WXY, and then another 1 2 3 4 5 wave down into C. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what is happening. In my view, from this height to about here in Polygon, we are having 5 down into A. This is an ABC on the upside to about this point into our B leg. And then what do we have in here? This can be ABC down into 1, ABC up into wave 2, ABC down into wave 3, ABC for 4 to about this point. And right now, what is exactly happening? Well, I think now we have to sort of kind of argue that, whoa, what just happened? Okay, this is like a 1, probably a running flat for 2, another 5 down into wave 3, correction for 4, and yet another move on the downside into wave 5. And let's just real quick delete the sub wave so you can see the candles a bit better. There we go. This is 5 wave down, followed by that in here we are having a correction up, and the move down that we are currently having in Polygon is probably going to be in form of a 1 2 3 4 5, but you don't actually see that in here. So what should we do? We should go on Polygon's chart from Coinbase and just essentially copy the fractal in here in order for us to get a better idea of where are we actually. So I think the last data point in Polygon belonged to maybe, was it somewhere around 19 cents, right? Yep, I think it was right in here. So let's just copy this part of the price action from October 15th. There we go, from here to about this thing, and copy to Matic's chart from trading view. There we go. Okay, where is it? Okay, so let's just paste this one and put it right in here. So this is essentially our current situation in Polygon. And yep, I think we can all safely assume that this is our wave 3. Probably, we talked about this subject actually in the previous videos. Correction for 4, either to about this point or here. Right now, I'm not really sure on that. And we can say the current move down one way or the other is going to be into our wave 5. And on a higher degree, these can be the subwaves for, you know it, an A, B, C zigzag in order to complete the subwaves for an ending diagonal in form of a wedge structure for this even larger degree wave C. And then at that point, yeah, you know what? We can say maybe our correction for wave 4 has come to an end and it's time to have another great move on the upside into our wave 5. The point that I'm trying to make is this: nothing is going to go up or down in a straight line. And whenever you are saying that we are overextended on one side, usually we are due for actually a move on the opposite direction. And Polygon, I don't really think that is going to be an exception, and I get it. Right now, a lot of people are talking negative on Polygon, but I'll be honest with you, most of those are actually talking negative on Polygon because simply the prices are down. For instance, if in the next, let's say 2-3 weeks, we end up having something like a 200% move on the upside, do you honestly believe that most of those people are still going to talk trash about Polygon? I'll be honest with you, I don't really think so. I have seen these types of behavior, okay? When the price bounces back, you are going to see a massive shift in narrative, and that's precisely why you shouldn't really follow the narrative, okay? You should just pay attention to what are we having in terms of fundamentals and also technical analysis. And in my field of works, Elliott's waves, well, this to me suggests that I should probably buy Polygon as we end up going lower and lower. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is happening in Polygon in the mid to long term. Now, if you found any value in my content, I would actually really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel, and also maybe give my Twitter a follow as well. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.